Good afternoon. We are on to the agribusiness chat with Jinmi Ajayi. Mr. Victor, let's meet you, please. Kindly introduce yourself.
Okay. Good afternoon, everyone, and good afternoon, Mr. Jinmi Ajayi. I'm Ihesie Victor, and the co-head of Ihesie Natural Health. I'm also a clinical microbiologist.
Thank you very much. So,
welcome.
Straight to the discussion for today. What is wellness, Mr. Victor, and how can one strive towards wellness?
Okay, wellness has been, the definition has been, controversial. So many additions here and there. But according to the World Health Organization, wellness is a state of complete well-being. That is a state of physical, mental, and social well-being. If you read up the definition of wellness on some websites, some will even add a state of not just physical, not just social and mental, but spiritual and economic well-being as well. Okay. And then let me bring it to Nigerian terms. Poverty alone can make you sick. Or let me say, not having enough funds to do whatever you want to do can make you sick. So if you're well physically, and maybe as a family man, you have so many kids to feed, so many mouths to feed, so many children to send to school, and you don't have the wherewithal to, prosecute that act, you can't be well.
True.
As a responsible man, you can't be well. Same thing with spiritual wellness as well. If let's imagine someone attacked by an evil spirit or a demon, I don't know if you're a Christian, so that can affect you. It can even affect you physically. If you look at 90% or over 90% of the patients at the mental hospitals, the psychiatric homes, and when they run tests on them, they see that nothing is wrong with their brains, all in perfect shape, but they act as if, they portray madness, which you think it's maybe they have issues with their mental health, but no, they all attributed this, mental degradation to spiritual illness, spiritual attack or demonic attack, as it's weird. So the real definition of wellness is a state of physical, mental, social, spiritual, and economic well-being. But it's just that we in this part of the world will pay more attention to our physical health. Let people pay attention to their mental health. Although in recent times, people are coming to terms with, how they could be mentally fit, how they could achieve mental fitness, which is very, very important. Because mental health is it's very important. Once you have issues with your mental health, your physical health begins to dwindle. The Holy Book says, a cheerful heart is medicine to the bones. While a weary heart is like, it shatters the bones. It's like a disease to the bones. So all these phases of wellness are very important.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much. Okay, so immunity these days has been a buzzword, especially considering the novel coronavirus, that is COVID-19, right? So what are the easily available immune boosters that that has no potential to damage people's vital organs?
Okay. Since the COVID-19 started, there's been this plenty talk about immunity, boosting immunity. And what's immunity? As the body's ability to ward off disease, infections, and toxins. And there are a number of things we have at our disposal that can easily boost our immunity. For example, vitamin C. Vitamin C is a very important antioxidant, which helps boost immunity, the immune system, and also helps to fight off cold, flu, sore throats, and different forms of viral infections. So vitamin C is one of the easily sourced supplements, or even you if you can't get them in fruits, maybe you don't like taking fruits and vegetables, you can easily get the supplements from, pharmacies or drugstores around. So like the ones they sell, the dispersible ones, which is 1,000 milligrams, and that is the recommended dosage for those who want to prevent COVID-19 and those who have COVID-19. 1,000 milligrams in a glass cup of water, thrice daily. As if you are treating the ailments, you're required to take it thrice daily.
Thrice daily, that's 3,000 milligrams.
Yeah, 3,000 milligrams for those treating. Then if you are preventing, it should be taken at least once in a day. Then we have we have the likes of bitter cola. Bitter cola is one of the most potent antiviral agents. Not only is it good for flu, it's also good for it boosts the immunity. It has, it's also antibacterial as well. Very good for coughs, for cold, for chest infections, sinusitis, and the like. So bitter cola is something you can get around. They have likes of ginger, garlic, and onions. These are very powerful immune boosters. And they are kitchen condiments as well. So they are, there are stuffs you can get together, blend with your maybe orange juice or pineapple juice, and take at will. You can even give to your kids. And the likes of ginger, garlic are also very rich in zinc. Zinc, very, very, very good, very, very rich in zinc. I know zinc helps, in transporting, drugs to very vital organs. It aids as, it's a very, very powerful element that helps, aside from it boosting immunity, it also helps to transport, drug constituents to very vital parts of the body. So these are something. We also have the likes of bay leaves. We have so many vegetables which we use as kitchen ingredients that are beneficial to our health. The likes of bitter leaf. Bitter leaf, scent leaves. They call it efere in Yoruba and Nchanwu in Igbo. We have ugu as a fluted pumpkin leaves. We have the likes of neem. Neem is a herb you have to take serious precautions if you're using it. It's not something you can easily use in the kitchen. It's not like the other vegetables like the bitter leaf, scent leaves, and ugu. Neem is also a powerful immune booster, but it has to be. You have to get the advice of a natural health practitioner before using it, because it has, some side implications, especially when used wrongly, or maybe you use it together with other orthodox medications. But in the kitchen alone, you have so many immune boosters that are not harmful, especially when you use them appropriately. So, like I said, likes of onions, ginger, garlic, cloves. I believe you know cloves. What cloves are?
I do.
Yeah. And we have vegetables, likes of bitter leaves, celery, water leaves. So many of them. So many of them. Yeah.
Thank you very much for that. All right. So, what key factors do you consider while sourcing or picking your herbs?
Okay. And because of how Ihesie Natural Health Services deal with local herbs, we source herbs, foreign herbs you can get in the UK, in the US, in China, Australia,
Sorry, does that mean you import more of your herbs?
I would say it's more like a 50-50 thing. And I'll give a reason. I'll give a reason for that. Now, the imported herbs are herbs that have gone through several years of research, well-detailed research. And some of those herbs, they have so many reports written on them. They've been tested, approved, by the FDA in these countries I mentioned, like the UK and the US. They've been constituents of the capsules they sell around all over the world. Have the likes of mixes, stinging nettle, red clover, bladderwrack, sea moss, many herbs, which they're not grown here in Nigeria, but they're grown, abroad, and been found to be extra beneficial. So it makes our work easier. You see, because you already have a detailed write-up of these herbs, you get them and use it to prosecute your, whatever you want to prosecute, use to treat ailments and the likes. Then, for our local herbs, the things we consider, number one. And before I go on, those foreign herbs, because of, the naturalists over there, they know their onions and they have so much expertise. So they take their time in selecting these herbs. They will even give you a manual on how these herbs are selected, how they're dried, so it's a very hygienic process. So when you get them, you're sure of what you're getting. Even when you see the herbs, you marvel and say, okay, this is well packaged, so neat and branded. So it makes things easy for you. And you already have the right stuff. You see doctors who comment on them. As doctors, they have affinity for natural medicine. And you see some hospital usage of these herbs. And so it makes your work easier because these are foreign herbs and they have detailed reports. But
I have a quick question, please. How do we reduce more importation of these herbs? Do you think it's possible? What should perhaps the government, what should farmers, what sort of efforts should we come up with to reduce this, the importation of these herbs?
To reduce, if you say reducing importation of herbs, that means you're limiting.
We should produce them locally.
Okay, most of these herbs are not, the Nigerian weather can't grow them.
Okay.
Yeah. But though we have some of them that can be grown locally, but it has to be in a controlled environment, in a controlled garden. And that is rather expensive.
Capital intensive.
That could be exactly capital intensive. And because we don't know how to, we've not, gone so big in, managing herbs. So we won't manage it effectively. Over there, they know what to do. They know how to preserve these herbs. They know how to, make them into supplement form. So it's easier for them, and they have all the facilities, the drying equipment, the packaging facilities. So it's easier for them.
Okay.
Because even the herbs we have locally, it's even difficult for us to process and package them. Talk less of, getting to grow the foreign herbs. Hope you understand. So, and most of these herbs, most of our local herbs, they are gotten from the local markets. That's the, let me say, the markets that are not so pleasing to the eye. So you just see them scattered around. The hygiene is questionable. The cleanness of the environment is questionable. So sourcing herbs from them, it's quite, you'll be caught in two minds. You have to be extra careful to select the herbs that are not rotten, that has no molds. So that's very important because those are the things we look for in herbs. We look at how fresh they are. Then if you want to source, it's easier to go to the bush and get the wild crafted herbs, especially the ones that are in season.
Thank you very much for the point you just made. There was a time I consulted for a pharmaceutical organization, right? They wanted us to find neem farms. To find, neem farms actually. And
dogoyaro.
It was dogoyaro, yeah. It was, we could not get any farm that specializes on, farming of herbs, you get. So it was pretty difficult. So does that mean that virtually all the herbs you make use of locally, that you source for locally, are gotten from the wild, from the bush? Do you have some farms that maybe you have a form of contract farming arrangement with them? And if you don't, are you willing to go into such arrangement with farmers? Because I can tell you there are lots of farmers available and have the capacity all they need is just to know what to do, to know where to get the right seeds or seedlings, and then they can farm for you.
Okay, in herbal medicine, we don't just make use of the beneficial plants to agriculture. We also make use of the ones that are, that can create cause a quagmire in agric production. The plants you see as pests, pests that can disrupt crop production, likes of mistletoe. Mistletoe is I'm sure you know mistletoe.
Yeah,
Is the second most deadly plant parasite in the world. But it is so medicinal. It has so many medicinal benefits. Very, very useful for treating the likes of cancer, feminine problems, high blood pressure, low blood pressure, any form of cardiovascular problems, But it's a nightmare to plants like oranges, guava, coffee, and so many others. So well, the farmers don't even know some of these crops, some of these plants. So it might be difficult to, unless you maybe do a mini education for them. You can achieve that. But most times we have people who source these herbs for us. They know the crafts. They've been doing this. They've been doing this for years. So you just go to, and most of these plants. Okay, like for example, there's a plant they call Cedar acuta. It's the English name is wireweed. That is a pest, is a parasite. And during the rainy season, you see them going in abundance. And farmers, they have difficulty in trying to weed this because it has a very tough stem, tough roots. And this plant is highly beneficial, for treating prostate problems, cardiovascular problems, and the likes. We have the likes of Acalifa, and when is their season, you see them going in abundance. Just go to any abandoned land, you just see them, sprouting out. You have likes of Philanthus. When Philanthus is in season, it you see it going around, even going in your gardens or your environments. So if we can educate farmers and tell them, okay, this is and this time of the year, this is the plants we need. If you can help us get them, and I think that'll be better. But for now, I think that's not been really visible. But I pray it's something we achieve later in the future.
Yeah. Thank you very much. So, considering the fact that you do some importation of the herbs you make use of, how do you control or work against contaminants from, yes, the ones you import are well packaged, they are well processed and all. However, the cost of bringing them into the country, handling at our local ports, especially our local ports here, you get. So how do you ensure that some of these packs or the packages don't break? And even if they are not in plastic bags, some of them will probably be in maybe cartons and all. I mean, can you guarantee that some of these packages are not tampered with? That's number one. And then secondly, the herbs you source for locally, I mean, how do you check against contaminants?
Okay, and let me start with the one we source for locally. Like I said, when you go to, you get the white crafted ones. You bring them. Those ones don't contaminate because they're still fresh. So we take them straight to have a separate room, where we fix UV lights. So so after they've paid, we'll make sure any form of contaminants is dealt with. Then from there we start to process. It's either if you want to make it into liquid form, we cut them into bits, soak them. If you want to make teas from them, we cut them into bits and dry them. Make it in tea form. That's aside. Then for foreign herbs, for now we've not encountered any form of breakages. Not non-recorded yet. Yeah. Because they know, they're registered herbs. So they don't tamper with them. We've not had any case like that.
All right, thank you very much. So what are the major challenges confronting your organization, Ihesie Natural?
Well, uh, these are challenges that affect every other natural health home. You know,
Mm-hmm.
the like you said, why can't these foreign herbs we import? Why can't they be grown here in Nigeria? Well, some of them can be grown. Like I said, it has to be in a controlled environment, a controlled garden,
Okay.
and
Okay.
trying to achieve that requires funds. Requires
Mm-hmm.
capital. Yeah, and again, trying to make sure these herbs are available all year round can be a very daunting task.
Okay.
So yeah, I think fund is a major uh, one of the major factors affecting Ihesie Natural because we tend to reach out to many people. We tend to get more of these herbs. We would love them to be grown here in Nigeria. As the foreign herbs are beneficial, but if you
Mm-hmm.
don't have if you don't have enough capital, you'll be able to, create a very suitable or a garden that has so much land mass, to
Okay.
accommodate, the volume of the herbs we would love to disseminate to different people. Then,
Okay.
yes, secondly is the acceptance. People tend to have second thoughts about natural medicine generally.
Okay.
So it's been difficult trying to convince people. So they've always had this notion that herbal medicine is fetish, doesn't have dosages, it's archaic, it's not supposed to be practiced. So the first question they will ask you is, hope it will destroy my liver, hope it will destroy my kidneys.
Mm-hmm.
So trying to convince people that okay, not that if you love vegetables, if you're eating vegetables, you should like herbal medicine because if I should take these vegetables, make them into tea form, it becomes agbo, and
Yeah.
this is what you eat on a daily basis. You understand? Your ugu,
Yeah.
bitter leaf. If I make them into tea form, it becomes herbal tea. And this is what you and uh, trying to convince them has been quite difficult. Though we want some souls into natural medicine. We want to convince people because after using it, they see the efficacy, they see how effective it is, how beneficial
Mm-hmm.
it is for their health, and it does turn a new leaf. And even the doctors that you know preach the anti-gospel of natural medicine, when they
Yeah.
come and they see that okay, all hell has been let loose
Mm-hmm.
on a particular case, they've not been able to use orthodox medicine to effectively treat a particular case, and maybe they reluctantly delve into natural medicine. Then when they see the efficacy and see how effective it has been, they give it a good nod and be like, okay, I think this is that. And when you convince them that okay, most of these herbal medicines, or what you see as fetish,
Mm-hmm.
has been well packaged by um, our counterparts abroad, and you see bitter leaf well packaged in the US in capsule
Mm-hmm.
form,
Mm-hmm.
the likes of
Yeah.
kola nuts, which was deemed to be very, uh, can cause health damages. Now
Yeah.
you can see it's well packaged in capsules. Even our palm oil, you'd be amazed to see palm oil packaged in capsules. Palm oil, there was this news about palm oil being very detrimental to the health. It affects, can cause blood pressure, cause high cholesterol. But in recent times, the scientists in the UK, in the US, when they did the analysis, they found that palm oil is one of the best oils in the world. Even compared to olive oil, it's very good for treating cardiovascular problems. And if you go to Amazon, you see palm oil in capsules, you'll marvel. I was discussing with a doctor, he was so hell bent on the fact that palm oil should never be used. It's
Mm-hmm.
very dangerous. This is that. When he saw palm oil capsule, not the red palm oil capsule, he didn't say a word. He was surprised. So you have when people start seeing these things, they start seeing okra in capsules. They tend to be more, they uh, they tend to accept natural medicine the more.
Okay.
But we're still preaching the gospel though. It's even though it has been people have been very skeptical,
All right.
So I think those are the top two challenges we have in natural medicine. Yeah.
All right, thank you. My question now is, can you really blame people for asking whether some of these herbs would cause liver problems or kidney issues after consuming them? Why? Because when you consider the likes of the Opainis we see across, around town, bus parks on the roads, different places. These people don't actually, I can't say they don't understand the combination. Maybe it's been across, generational practice. However, there's been reports of these Opainis and local herbs causing these issues. These reports are fact-based, you get. So when you go online, when you go to hospitals, they have there's evidence of these local herbs causing these damages in people. So how can you compare or distinguish rather between what you're doing and then what these other guys on the streets are doing, and then find a sort of balance to create awareness?
Okay, first off, when the usefulness of a thing is not known, abuse becomes inevitable. Okay. Now we know, every beneficial thing has its adverse effects when abused. Even water itself can be very detrimental to the health when in some certain forms. Now water, when it is 100 degrees Celsius, when it's poured on anyone's body, it becomes an acid. When it's when we have failed drainages or bad drainages, what happens? It creates, the road begins to spoil, and water. But you say because water has this negative benefit, you stop using it. No, the same thing with herbs. Now, you said they don't know the right constituents, the right composition, and that's true. Some of these roadside herbal sellers, they compromise the herbs. So they do all sorts, and because they didn't learn properly from their old folks or who they learned the trade from, they add all sorts. You see them boiling herbs with the likes of, painkillers like paracetamol, Panadol Extra, which is very, affects the liver badly. When you boil, because they want it to be more effective. They want when you take this Opaiin, you mix it with maybe add small tramadol, add small after 5 or more aspirin, becomes effective. But because of our individual differences, some would take this and they might be fine and it will work well for them. But for some others, it affects their kidneys so badly. And because they don't know the counter effects of this herb, they just know, okay, this don't work for this, this don't work for that, we can combine everything together. No, you don't combine everything together. You have to study the constituents of each herb. And if you ask these local herb sellers, okay, what are the functions of, they'll tell you the function, but okay, what is the constituent? What are the side effects? Don't put it to you academically. You just, my grandfather has been using it. This is good for this, is good for that. They don't know the side effects. So they just combine. And all this has its, it can be counterproductive, especially for your kidneys and your liver. So you ask, and again, the environment in which they concoct this herbal remedies is so dirty, very close to the gutter, and there's no how you won't find contaminants in them. So you as a literate person, you want to get herbal remedies and you're going to this unhygienic place to get them, you should have yourself to blame. And if your kidney is affected, it's all your fault because you've not gone through the right channel. It's just same thing applies to even the pharmaceutical world. You see those, I don't know if you know those, you see people hawking drugs around. You just combine. They can put one paracetamol, one red pill, you just take this. They don't know what it is. They're just hawking. They're not literate about it.
Mm-hmm.
They don't know the constituents. They don't know the, the research terminologies. They
Yeah.
just, and, you as a learned person, if you, go through that route, you should have yourself to blame. So
Exactly.
same thing applies to natural medicine. But these days, we have people who have, sat down to study the constituents of each herbs. Before they use any herbal constituents, they scrutinize it, look at the various elements, the antioxidants inherent
Yeah.
in these herbs.
Yeah.
They know the side effects, the most
Okay.
potent and the most potent ingredients, the most potent antioxidants, the most potent
Mm.
carotenoids. So they know how to, combine this together
Mm-hmm.
to create a very potent medicine. Like, okay, we, for example, okay, let's say want to create we have a remedy, let's say for cancer, cancer as an example.
Mm-hmm.
Now, yeah, okay, let me just give this practical example. I was making a remedy for a cancer patient, that has both lymphoma, that's cancer of the lymph
Okay.
nodes, cancer of the lymph nodes, and kidney cancer. And what are the herbs very effective for these ailments? We have like soursop leaves, which is one
Okay.
of the most potent remedy for treating cancer. It's actually more, it's a very potent, even much more potent than the conventional chemotherapy drugs. That is, if it is
Mm.
used at the early stages.
Okay.
Then we have the likes of red periwinkle. Red periwinkle is a herb in which, two powerful chemotherapy drugs were made from them. Likes of vincristine and vinblastine were made from these plants. We also have the likes of new border livis, which is a very powerful plant. And garlic, turmeric, of course, these are not just anti-cancer agents, they are also powerful immune boosters, like I said earlier.
Mm.
So, and fine, we know they are potent, but before you use the red periwinkle, for example, I
Okay.
make sure, okay, if I use this quantity, I make sure the red periwinkle and the soursop, they're equal quantities, and I added the garlic, the turmeric. The turmeric is also a very powerful anti-cancer agent,
Mm-hmm.
So after combining them, because of I know how effective red periwinkle is, and if you take it in high dosages, it can be counterproductive. So the dosage was, okay, let's take about 6 tablespoons, and if you're using it with your other drugs, there has to be spacing, because it has this, it can interact, it has, some kind of not too pleasant drug interaction, based on the article I read online, the research studies done in the US and the UK.
Okay.
So after making the remedy, I said, okay, if you're taking other drugs, you have to give it like 2 to 3 hours spacing. So you take the remedy first, then after 3 hours, you can take your other remedies. So if you don't do all these studies and your findings, and you just say, okay, because you read somewhere that the likes of red periwinkle and soursop can be effective for treating cancer, you just leave them to take it anyhow. It can affect their liver. It doesn't make the plant less effective. Now, another remedy is, another case scenario is the likes of garlic and onions. I know once in a while you've used garlic and onions to cook.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, do you know there's a way you can prepare remedies with garlic and onions? If you don't have expertise in it, it can, cause, severe damage to even your intestine. Because garlic and onions, they seem, it sounds, they sound so friendly because they're just kitchen condiments. But you can make them together, and it can cause some intestinal damages if you don't use them appropriately.
Okay.
Because garlic and onions, garlic is powerful, quite all right.
Yeah.
If you eat garlic now, it can take 2 days before the odor comes out, goes out completely.
Okay.
Onions is also very powerful. But when you combine these two together, you have to give it. So let's say you blend together, you want to prepare maybe a powerful remedy, an immune boosting remedy. Now, if you blend these two together and you take immediately, you find yourself rolling on the floor. And they can even rush you to the hospital to maybe do some flushing because they are so powerful. When they have this, this synergistic effect together. And if you don't allow it to settle for maybe a day or two before using the combination, you'll be, it can affect you adversely. So these are the things you study. You're meant to study before you go into herbal preparation. And it's not that herbs themselves they are never bad because this is God's original medicine. But you have to use wisdom. Wisdom is profitable to direct. You have to use wisdom in combining these herbs for you to, get the best benefits from them. So we can go on and on like that. There's so many. Even bitter leaf as as beneficial as as it is, if it's used wrongly, can affect your health. If a diabetic patient should take bitter leaf excessively, it can reduce bring down the blood sugar so drastically. The person might even lose his or her life. So these are the things you have to take. And this local herbal sellers, unfortunately, some of them, because they probably didn't go to school and they are not well grounded in the crafts, so they make all these mistakes.
Yeah. So you've painted a very good picture of the whole situation. However, how do we save those? Because you've mentioned that any literate person should know better, right? How do we now save those who are not literate, who don't have this information you're talking about right now? As a herbal specialist yourself, do you people have a kind of association where where you use your platform to enlighten the populace about these issues going on?
The thing is, it can be very difficult, to convince the average Nigerian, to take precautions before taking any of these roadside herbs. So I think what we should do going forward, is to try to, because natural medicine, we don't have a strong platform. We don't really form that strong bond because we need to educate this, the so-called illiterates herbal sellers on the pros and cons of herbal preparation, how to ensure a very, how to ensure they make their herbs in a very hygienic environment, in a less harmful state. So I think it's best you educate the people selling the herbs, and we've not really had that platform. Though it's been there, but not that's not been active enough. Because to be honest, it's very difficult to convince the average person not to go to the those selling herbs by the roadside. So I think it's best to just meet the people selling the herbs and tell them, okay, these are things to do. Don't go be adding tetracycline to one agbo because you feel it to be very effective. It has this so side effects. So
all right, thank you very much. So what are the most common ailments that people present with at Ihesie Natural Health?
Well, we've had a number, but I think the most popular ones are, for the females, it's normally reproductive health problems, fibroids, ovarian cysts, hormonal imbalance, endometriosis, polycystic ovarian syndrome, and ovarian cysts. But I think, the one has, been a major ailment should be fibroids. Fibroids or any hormonal imbalance problems. And fibroids and breast cancer too has also been another ailment which has, should be topping the list Maybe not directly. We have people who have breast lumps, breast cysts, mastitis, that's breast infection. So that's for the female. Then for the male, is mostly prostate problems. Yeah, that's for those. Yeah, for those who are. As for the older males, then for the younger males, most of them just wants to boost their, their sexual prowess. They want some sexual enhancers, and it's only when they have only when they have only when they have infections, and that's when they'll come to meet you. But most times, anytime you see, a young guy, maybe he wants to seek your advice, it's mostly something to boost his erection, boost his deal with his quick ejaculation problems, But for the older males, prostate problems and high blood pressure. Yeah.
Okay. So you mentioned that. So that means that, does that mean that overall the most common ailment is breast cancer? Is it breast cancer or fibroid? Overall.
Overall, I won't just say fibroid, because let me just say hormonal imbalance problems. Because it is when you have hormonal imbalance, that's when other ailments, feminine health problems can pop up. The likes of.
Okay. All right. Yeah. Thank you. So, what is the antidote to hormonal imbalance issues? What's the antidote?
That's a topic for another day, because.
Okay.
Yeah, it's majorly a lifestyle problem.
Exactly. I mean, that was why I asked that. Okay, if possible, if
lifestyle
we
problem.
know that it's, I mean, if we can identify that the major issue stems from hormonal imbalance issues, or hormonal imbalance. So does that mean that perhaps maybe diet, while while the females are young, is there some kind of diet they're supposed, that they're supposed to adhere to? You get. So that was why I asked.
Okay, yeah, well, if you can address the issue right from when they attain puberty, it will go a long way in saving them on the long run. Now aside from the unhealthy eating, unhealthy lifestyle, the abuse of contraceptives has played a major role in hormonal imbalance. You see young ladies using contraceptives anyhow. They're abusing it, doing whatsoever with it, And these drugs, they have serious health implications, serious ones, and coupled with the fact that, now just imagine someone who has been abusing contraceptives and you are using, and your diet has been so poor, you've been eating all sorts, eating, not taking precautions, maybe eating white flour foods regularly, taking excess sugar, drinking, smoking.
White flour foods.
White flour food, likes of cakes, pie. That's eating it excessively.
Yeah.
It becomes it poses a very serious health problem. So when your hormones are not balanced, maybe when you have high estrogen, higher than normal, fibroids will begin to pop up. The likes of adenomyosis and endometriosis begins to pop up. When you have high testosterone, that is in the female, she begins to have cysts or polycystic ovarian syndrome. The likes of prolactin. Prolactin is an hormone which a lady who is pregnant, a lady who is breastfeeding, that's when she's supposed to be having high levels of prolactin. But in the case where you see a lady who is not pregnant having high prolactin, it becomes a problem. It becomes difficult for her to put to bed. So it's better to be prevented than to be treated. Prevention is way better than cure. And if the person is faced with hormonal imbalance problems, the best thing to do is to stay off forms of unhealthy eating. Do more fruits and vegetables. Make sure that they stay off like sugar, excessive sugar intake, alcohol. And those who smoke should stop it completely because smoking damages a lady's uterine system, damages the womb. Fine. I know some ladies, they can have maybe tough skin or a tough system. It might not really affect, but for those who have very sensitive body, just once they get smoke can destroy their internals, can affect them for life. The same thing with contraceptives. You see ladies who take contraceptives for a very long time. They stop it, the normal processes begins to, happen, and they can put to bed anytime you want to put to bed. But for some others, just using it once can disrupt the whole sequence of their whole reproductive sequence, and it can take so many months to years to correct.
Okay.
So yeah. So it does go on a healthy diet. There are several herbs that helps in balancing hormones, like some mistletoe, stinging, mistletoe, stinging nettle, the ones they call ladies' mantle. So we have so many of them. They have likes of cocoa leaves. Cocoa leaves they call it border lives. It's called the fertility plant. It helps with dealing with fertility problems in females.
Okay.
So yeah.
Is it a cocoa leaf or ewe akoko?
Ewe akoko, yeah, ewe akoko.
Okay.
Yeah.
I know that one.
Yeah. Okay. It's a fertility booster. Very powerful, So these are the things they should take when they have hormonal. I know, when they have uterine problems, they can also have the likes of prolonged periods, or some of their periods might even cease for months. Some might have excess bleeding. So these are the excesses of hormonal imbalance.
All right. Thank you very much. So let's now come back to our society, our environment, right? I mean, you are a young Nigerian, right? So look at what you're doing. It's inspiring what you're doing at Ihesie Natural Health, right? And so, I mean, what keeps you going?
Okay, natural medicine. I was born into natural medicine, so having to see, as a kid, you see plants around us, and any ailments, we never went to the hospital for once. My dad is a pioneer. He has been practicing even before I was born.
So your dad founded Ihesie Natural Health.
Exactly. So I was born into it. And as in practicing, he's also a medical professional as well. So I'll call him. Yeah, he's the one I learned the basis of integrated medicine from. Combining the both arts together. So seeing plants around, very beneficial plants around us. If we have a cut, you can just get. I'm sure aloe vera. Get aloe vera.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Just rub it around the spots. Or you have a burn, get honey and aloe vera. Use to treat the place. If I have a cough, my mom will get bitter cola, honey, garlic. Blend together. Take. Then as kids, if we have the high fever or all these childhood sicknesses that require hospital visits. Let's get some leaves from the likes of babamuda, the local catnip. Let's boil it together, add honey, give to us, and we're fine. So as I was going, when I started, getting conscious about, then we're doing this unconsciously. We say we have cough. Mom will say, I can bring that cough medicine. They use bitter cola and this, they likes to make. And so we don't unconsciously, when we see we have a cut, we just get, as kids, we just get aloe vera, we put it there to dry up. So it was when I started being conscious of these privileges, was when I was in secondary school. I'll see some of my classmates having ailments that they hospitalize them for months. I was like, this is something you can just use plant A and B to solve. Why do you need to go to give you all these medications? Why should you do surgery when you can take the likes of bitter leaf and ephedrine and everything will normalize? So I was like, and I was like, in the hospitals, why can't they give so and so plants instead of giving these medications that can affect in this part of the body. Why can't they combine? Well, I was like, why this thing should be combined together? Because you go to the hospitals, they mention nothing about plants. So it was when I realized, okay, they don't really care about natural medicine. It's only orthodox or true. So so I just decided to, okay, let me just fine tune this thing, go into natural medicine wholeheartedly with daggers drawn, and make sure you combine both spheres together. And what keeps it going, when you see results, you give people help, they're seeing results, it keeps you get inspired to do more researches, formulate more herbal remedies. You're happy, you're giving people something, and they are seeing the results. It keeps you going, it keeps you happy.
Nice one. All right, thank you very much. So we've come to the end of the chat. I was having fun and taking notes as well. I used to think I know a lot about, or maybe a few things about herbs, but at least hearing from the master that you are.
Master.
It's been a wonderful experience and learning opportunity for me. So how can our viewers reach out to you? I'm sure some of them will.
I'm on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube. On Instagram is Ihesie _natural health. That is IHESIE, then the symbol _ the natural health, NATURALHEALTH. Then on Facebook is Ihesie Natural Health. That is IHESIE Natural Health. On Twitter is Ihesie Naturals. Then I'm on YouTube as well, Ihesie Natural Health.
Okay.
So those are the platforms.
All right. Thank you very much, Mr. Victor.
It's
been a pleasure having this chat.
Pleasure is all mine. It's all mine.
Yeah. So do enjoy the rest of your day.
Thank you very much.
Bye.
Take care.
Yeah.